AI is pretty much everywhere right now. We have AI presidents playing games together.
All I'm hearing is someone who's mad that their mom got absolutely railed just minutes ago.
We have AI art impressing middle schoolers and people who still use Facebook. This dinosaur only has one fucking arm. We even have AI anime, which is the only time I've seen people dick ride CGI.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
There's a lot of concern about the direction AI is going in. If it's going to make jobs obsolete, or if it's going to be abused to spread misinformation, causing further division among people.
You wouldn't want a little ratatouille guy up there doing whatever?
It's honestly insane that a rat would even be able to cook in the first place.
He doesn't have to be cooking.
In the movie, he's cooking.
But then there's South Park, asking the real hard-hitting questions. Like, can I use this to text my girlfriend back for me? I think this was another banger of an episode. Let's talk about it. First off, I gotta say, I love the foundation for this episode because it plays into the depth these characters have, but we don't always get to see. Basically, Bebe is showing off the super sweet, thoughtful text that Clyde has been sending her, wrapping him up as an amazing boyfriend, which makes Wendy feel super insecure because Stan only responds to all of her texts with a thumbs up. And not even the emoji, just the little reaction. Bro making her look like she's talking to herself. Side note, am I the only one who cracks up when the show has these really detailed renders? Like, Clyde's photo on Bebe's phone got a good laugh out of me, and I think it's that simple realism to it without deviating from the show's simple art style. This episode had a lot of great expressions in general though. Wendy obviously feels like Stan doesn't care about her or isn't interested in her, which we should know isn't true, because it was established 20 years ago in Season 7's Raisins that Stan is absolutely terrible at communicating with her. Back then when he dumped him because he hadn't spoken to her in weeks. But it clearly was not a malicious intent. Bro was confused. He just has a very poor understanding of how romantic relationships are supposed to work. Which makes sense because he's 10 years old. His relationship with Wendy is supposed to be one of, if not the aspect of the show, that reminds us that these are still just dumb kids. Even if they are way more observant of the world than most of the adults around them. He knows he likes Wendy. He knows he enjoys spending time with her, and he knows that they have a connection. They align with a lot morally, but he doesn't understand her needs. Like most kids, and hell, even adults, he doesn't get that he has to listen to his partner's problems and make her feel like she's actually being understood. Also, yeah, men just don't listen to women because they think they're annoying, even when they like them. And they're right! Which is made all the more apparent when Clyde confides to Stan that he's not actually writing any of those texts to Bebe, but instead has ChatGPT write the text for him. With this knowledge passed on to Stan, he starts using it to respond to Wendy. And although it's working out great for him at first, the cracks start to show pretty early on when Wendy calls him expecting a bedtime story. But where things really start to escalate is when Stan starts using the AI for his schoolwork, as he starts to realize that Clyde, Butters, and Cartman were all using ChatGPT for their homework. And Cartman's pissed that Clyde told Stan because he's ultimately afraid of Mr. Garrison catching on to the grift. Granted, Garrison basically does find out, but it goes over his head since he immediately focuses on how this can make his job easier. I love the bit with this Gen Z kid walking in the bathroom when they talk ChatGPT, clearly wanting to know what's going on. Things really start to blow up in Stan's face when Wendy takes him out on a date to thank him for his improvement in communication because Stan realizes that Wendy wasn't just complaining to him about nothing. She opened up to him about some pretty heavy shit that happened to her when she was 6. And he doesn't even know a single detail. Also, need I remind you, they're only 10! Stan realizes that by letting technology speak for him, by not putting in any real effort, the relationship has lost its authenticity. But again, because Stan does actually care about Wendy, it crushes him. And to make matters worse, Mackie announces that the school has hired a company to figure out which students have been using OpenAI for their schoolwork. And while I got a kick out of the technician being this weird-ass druid with a falcon, I'm disappointed they didn't poke fun at the dipshit narc who created GPT-0 in the first place. You don't think the nerd emoji strolling in wouldn't be a little funny? Anyways, the druid puts both Wendy and evidently the writers in a corner, as Stan confesses he's not creative enough to think of a way out of this. And in a resolution that's kinda reminiscent of the vaccination special, Stan uses ChatGPT to fix the situation for him. pleading that AI should be something that everyone has a chance to use, while also convincing Wendy that a thumbs up from a human is better than a lie from a machine. While I think this was a pretty clever ending, it was also a cop-out. And this ending, coupled with something else in this episode, kinda makes me wonder, what the hell is happening behind the scenes? Not only is this the second episode in a row to have an abrupt cop-out ending, but it's the second episode in a row where Matt's characters barely have any dialogue. I don't think there's anything too juicy to this. Matt and Trey are probably just sick with some kind of cold. All of their characters sound off, but with Cartman especially, you can hear Trey losing his voice. Just listen to the bathroom scene.
Yes, we are all using it, and we had a pact that we wouldn't tell anyone else because then Mr. Garrison will figure it out.
Their vocal cords are fighting for their lives. I think my boy Johnny Two Cellos will have a bit more to say on this than I do, so peep his video when it drops. But them fighting through a cold would definitely explain the abrupt endings and limited voices from Matt. They still have to get these episodes out on a weekly basis and probably have no flexibility in their schedule. I feel kinda bad for them. And if you didn't figure it out, ChatGPT wrote the ending of this episode, which is why it has a lot of older catchphrases from the characters, like Mackie's excessive use of "okay" and Cartman calling Stan a
Damn cheese!
instead of Kyle. There's also a special thanks to Play.ht for AI voices. Conclusion. With all that said, South Park's stance on AI is pretty clear after this episode. It can be a genuinely helpful tool for people, as they said, like a good writer's assistant, which I inferred as an admission of using AI to bounce ideas off of each other when neither Matt nor Trey can come up with anything. Whether we like it or not, AI is here to stay. And if we reject it entirely, big corporations will just continue to use it to have an unfair advantage. But in any circumstance, it can't do all the work for you, or it will blow up in your face. Me personally, I get why AI is scary, especially when it comes to the workforce. Whether that be food service, the fine arts, or entertainment, the idea that a robot can replace your hard work while saving the corporate overlords millions of dollars is terrifying. It's a whole different ballpark from being able to make a funny little video where Trump and Biden debate Kingdom Hearts.
That's the sleeping realm theory, Sleepy Joe. It's all of us sitting around theorizing how you could like such a trash fucking game.
You're out of your mind.
But this episode also makes a great case for why a full-scale takeover wouldn't be feasible. No matter how you slice it, AI can't replace human authenticity. You need to have that human touch and that human oversight, because AI will be riddled with inconsistencies and make mistakes. I mean, come on, artificial is in the name, people. That alone should tip you off that it'll never be as reliable as the real deal. The future of AI is in our hands, and all I can really ask for is that we use it wisely. Dude, she's texting me again? Wait.